Yeah, good evening, everyone. Yeah, um, let's start our session today. Yeah. Okay, it's very fast. Yeah. Okay. Now it's already week six. The topic of week six is Indonesia and regional security architecture. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's already week six. Next week, week seven, and then after that, week eight is will be midterm test, right? Yeah, will be midterm test. The midterm test will be taken from week 1 to week 7. So please take attention. Yeah, you have to read all the materials because the question will be from the uh, materials that I shared. Okay, so those who have not seen a campus, maybe it's time for you to see a campus. Learn from that. Yeah, okay. Learn from the material of in campus. Okay. Today it's about Indonesia and regional security architecture. So we are actually discussing about regional security, yeah, that Indonesia is actively participating. Yeah, the term that coined this is regional security. Okay. Regional security is the effort of countries in a region to maintain peace and stability. Okay, so Indonesia is located in Southeast Asia. Yeah, Indonesia is located in, we can say maybe Pacific, Pacific Asia, in the Pacific Asia, right? Yeah, or we can say Indonesia is part of East Asia. Okay, so Indonesia and other countries in the region try to maintain peace and stability. That is regional security. Yeah. Okay. Indonesia is important in Southeast Asian security because Indonesia is the largest ASEAN country by population and geography. And Indonesia plays a leading role in diplomacy, security initiative, and conflict resolutions. Yeah, okay, that's why Indonesia is very important in Southeast Asian security. We know that Indonesia, we can say 40% of ASEAN's ASEANers, yeah, are from Indonesia actually. Okay, and we can say almost half of Southeast Asia territory is in Indonesia actually. Yeah, so Indonesia is the largest ASEAN country by population and geography. So today we are discussing about regional security, and we will discuss theories, yeah, and then after that we discuss the region that Indonesia is located, which is ASEAN and ASEAN Regional Forum, yeah, and then Indonesia role in regional security cooperation, and then finally we discuss the largest security issues, yeah, the largest security issue in Southeast Asia, which is maritime security and the South China Sea disputes. Okay, let's continue. ASEAN, yeah. I'm sure all of you know about ASEAN, right? Yeah. ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It's called ASEAN. It was established in 1967. It has 10 Southeast Asian countries. It will come to 11 soon, yeah, because Timor-Leste is joining. The main goals are to promote economic and political stability, maintain peace and security in the region, encourage social and cultural cooperation, and strengthen the diplomatic ties among member countries. Yeah. Okay, let's see this video.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, is an intergovernmental organization comprising 10 Southeast Asian countries. Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam, dedicated to promoting economic integration and regional security. Established in 1967, ASEAN has been pivotal in fostering economic ties and stability within the region, including the negotiation of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, the world's largest free trade agreement. However, the bloc faces challenges due to its lack of strategic cohesion, particularly in addressing China's territorial claims in the South China Sea and responding to Myanmar's ongoing civil conflict. Despite these hurdles, ASEAN has played a crucial role in improving relations among its diverse member states, each with varying economic standings, political systems, and cultural backgrounds.
Yeah, that's ASEAN. Yeah. Okay, now let's discuss theories. The theories that we are discussing today is regional security complex, yeah, and then regional security architecture and regional security community. Those who took international security with me, you must be familiar with some of this concept, yeah, which especially regional security complex, which I discussed in international security. Okay? So, RSCT, Regional Security Complex Theory. Yeah, it is one of the most well-known regional security theory. Yeah, okay. Developed by Barry Buzan and Ole Wever. Regional security complex is a group of states whose primary security concern link together sufficiently closely that their national securities cannot realistically be considered apart from one another. Yeah. So here in the region, okay, the primary security concern are similar. Yeah, they share the similar security concern. Okay. So the national security of this region, of countries in this region, yeah, they cannot be apart from one another. And that's why they need to be in one region. Yeah, they need to solve the problem in their regional security issues. Yeah. Okay, that's regional security complex. Okay, so yeah, just think that we for example living in a class complex. Yeah, so in a class, for example, in a classroom, you share the similar security concerns, right? Yeah, and your personal problem maybe cannot be considered apart from one another. Yeah, so you are living in a complex. So the regional security complex is also similar like that. Okay. The regional security complex theory, RSCT, is a conceptual framework within the field of international relations that seeks to explain the dynamics of security in specific regional contexts. This theory, RSCT, is developed by Barry Buzan and Ole Wever. This is Barry Buzan. Yeah, Barry Buzan. Okay. In early 1990s, the theory challenges traditional approach to security studies that often focus on global level and instead emphasize the importance of regional dynamics in shaping security relationship. Yeah. So before 1990, most of security studies are global. Yeah. International security, which actually a lot of importance regional dynamics, yeah, shapes security relationships. Okay. So firstly, regional security complex refers to a group of states whose security is closely interconnected. Yeah. So they are connected. They have connection in terms of security. Okay. The states share common security concerns, threats, and interests within a specific geographic region. The interaction and security dynamics within the complex are more salient than those with states outside the region. Yeah. For example, we in Southeast Asia, yeah, we share the similar security concerns, common security concerns, which is, for example, the issue of China's claim over South China Sea. Yeah, actually, most of our ASEAN countries have this common issue, okay, common security concern. Yeah, because meaning that we are now facing a more assertive neighbor, which is China. And China now is claiming South China Sea, which is actually very far from them. Yeah, and actually it's also the part, the territory of many ASEAN countries. Yeah. That's why we are having common security problems, common security concerns, threat and interest. Yeah. Europe, for example, Western Europe, or what we call Euro, yeah, European Union, yeah, they share similar security concern, threat and interest. Okay, let's say they share, for example, the issue of migration, yeah, the issue of crimes, which is similar in the whole Western Europe, and the issue of threat from Russia, yeah, Russian threats. Yeah. So those are the issues that European Union are facing as a region. Okay. Yeah. Secondly, security interdependence. RCT highlights the interdependence of states within a regional security complex. Security interdependence meaning that security of one state in a complex is linked to the security of others. Yeah. So the security of Indonesia, yeah, for example, linked with the security of Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, yeah, Myanmar, for example, Brunei, Timor Leste, yeah. So because the security in one state linked to the security of others, so the security in one country will be the concern of the countries in the region. Yeah. Okay. Changes in security situation in one state can have ripple effects on the security of neighboring states. Yeah. We can see now Myanmar, for example, Myanmar. Yeah. We know Myanmar is facing a tremendous security situation. Yeah. That actually have ripple effects on the security of their neighboring states, such as Thailand, yeah, China, India, yeah. Okay. So because there is security interdependence between Myanmar and their neighbors, yeah. So those are security interdependence. Is it clear at this point? Do you have question?
No question, sir.
Question?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the third concept is regional security complex formation. How regional security complex formatted? Yeah. The theory suggests that regional security complex are not fixed or predetermined. Rather than they are formed through historical, cultural, political, and geographical factors. Okay, so these complex are not predetermined, but they are formed by history. Yeah, they formed by their culture, formed by their political issues, yeah, formed by geographic factors. The process of complex formation involves the identification of common security threats and the development of shared security practices among states in a particular region. Yeah. So those are how regional security complex is formed. Yeah, is formed. Okay, by history, by cultural factors, by political factors, and by geographical factors. Yeah. Fourth, the regional security mechanism. Within a regional security complex, states often develop specific security mechanism and institutions to address shared threats and challenges because they share the same problems, share the same security issues, security threats and challenges. Yeah. So rationally, this region will develop security mechanism and institution. Yeah. For example, in Northern Atlantic, they develop NATO. Yeah. In Western Europe, they develop European Union, yeah, which has security community actually. Yeah. In Southeast Asia, we develop ASEAN Security Community. Yeah. ASEAN Security Community. Yeah. So every region, if their security complex are developed enough, they will develop security mechanism and institution. Yeah. This mechanism can include diplomatic agreements, even military alliances like NATO, yeah, and regional organizations like ASEAN or European Union, designed to promote stability and cooperation. Yeah. Okay, is it clear or you have question?
Clear, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Clear,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you. Okay, number 5. Differential integration in the RSCP. Yeah. In the regional security complex. Regional security complex theory recognizes that not all states within a given region will be equally integrated into security complex. Some states may be more central and influential, while others may be peripheral or on the fringe. This differential integration affects the distribution of power and influence within the regional security complex. Yeah. So, yeah, not all states in the region will be equally integrated into the security complex. Yeah. Yeah. For instance, ASEAN Security Community. Yeah. Not all ASEAN countries equally integrated into ASEAN Security Community, you know. Yeah. Countries like, for example, Laos, yeah, or Myanmar, for example, yeah, they are not equally integrated, such as Indonesia, for example, yeah, Singapore, or Malaysia, or Thailand, or even Vietnam, yeah, okay. So every country have their level of integration will be different. Okay, some are on the core, on the central, influential, while others may be peripheral. Yeah, that is differential integration. Number 6, there will be overlap of security complexes. Yeah, the theory acknowledges that regions are not isolated from each others, and there can be overlaps or interaction between different regional security complexes. These overlaps can be a source of tension or cooperation, depending on the nature of the relationship between the relevant states. Yeah. So the security complex of, for example, Cambodia, for example, or Laos, yeah, they have overlapping security complex between Southeast Asia and, for example, East Asia, China, for example, yeah, because Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, yeah, they are heavily influenced by China, yeah, and this can become the source of tension or cooperation, yeah, because of the overlapping or interaction between different regional security complexes. Okay. So, in summary, regional security complex theory provides a framework to understand security dynamics at regional level, emphasizing the interconnectedness of states within a given geographic area and importance of regional factors in shaping security relationships. Yeah. So this theory explains security dynamics at the regional level. Okay. And interconnectedness of states in the region and the importance of regional factors in shaping security relationships. Okay. It offers a more nuanced and context-specific approach to security analysis compared to traditional global-centric perspective, which is international security. Yeah. So this theory offers a more detailed context-specific approach. Yeah. Okay. Specific to the region. Okay, any question about the RSCT? Clear, ya?
Clear, Sarah.
Thank you. Regionalism and regional security institution. I think some of you, or maybe all of you, have taken the course of regionalism, right? Regionalism or ASEAN, yeah. Okay, or maybe you are taking this course currently, maybe, yeah. So maybe you have discussed about regionalism, right? Yeah. Regionalism is the theory or practice of coordinating social and economic or political activities within a geographical region comprising a number of states. Okay. On an institutional level, regionalism involves the growth of norms, rules, and formal structures through which coordination is brought about. Okay, so in the region, yeah, in the regionalism, usually they will develop norms, rules, and formal structures. Yeah. In ASEAN, for example, they form ASEAN norms of the ASEAN way, right? The ASEAN way. They form rules, code of conducts. Yeah. For example, the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, TAC. Yeah. They also form the code of conduct, okay, on specific issues, okay, and develop also formal structure, the ASEAN headquarters, yeah, also the structure of ASEAN community, yeah, okay, and then ASEAN community, they have structure of ASEAN political security community, ASEAN economic security, economic community, and ASEAN socio-cultural community. They have their structure. Okay. Regionalism also implies the realignment of political identities and loyalties from the states to the region. The extent of regional integration may range from cooperation among sovereign states on the basis of intergovernmentalism to the transfer of authority from states to central decision-making body in accordance with supranationalism. Yeah. Okay. ASEAN until the year 2003. Yeah. ASEAN is only cooperation among sovereign states. Yeah. The cooperation among 10 ASEAN, 10 Southeast Asian states on the basis of intergovernmentalism. Okay. Currently, ASEAN countries have transferred some authority, yeah, to the regional institution, but not all. Yeah. Okay. While European Union, okay, they transferred many of the authority from states to the European Commission, the European Union, yeah, in accordance with supranationalism. Yeah. So those are regionalism. Yeah. Is it clear? Or do you have question?
Sir, actually, I cannot see your PPT. Is it my signal or maybe
How
the?
about others? Can you see the PPT?
I can see actually.
You can see, right?
Oh, okay.
I think
Okay.
Okay.
you
I
probably.
will make sure my signal. Thank you.
Okay. No problem.
Well, I can see it now.
Okay, good, good. Okay, after discussing regionalism, let's discuss regional security architectures. Yeah. RSA refer to the institutional and political frameworks that states create to manage regional security challenges. Yeah. So to manage, to solve, yeah, regional security challenges, usually states develop institutional and policy framework to the region. Yeah. So the RSA, regional security architecture, include organizations like ASEAN, ARF, yeah, ASEAN Regional Forum, yeah, and then ADMM plus, ASEAN Defense Ministers Meeting plus, yeah, which provide diplomatic, military, and economic mechanism to maintain regional stability. RSA can be seen as the practical implementation of RCT. Yeah. While RCT is the theoretical model, RSA consists the real world institution and agreement that shapes security cooperation. Yeah. So those are RSA and RSCT. RSCT is the theory. Yeah, the theory. RSA is the implementation. Yeah. The implementation is developing regional institution and mechanism and policy. Yeah. So those are regional security architectures. Is it clear on your question? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Having discussed the theory, yeah, let's see Southeast Asia regional security architectures. ASEAN. Yeah, this is ASEAN role in security. ASEAN is ASEAN Security Community, later evolved to ASEAN Political Security Community. Yeah, is the RSA in Southeast Asia. Yeah, regional security architecture in Southeast Asia. ASEAN Security Community introduced in early 2000s, specifically in 2003. Yeah, to encourage regional security cooperation among members countries. The broad ideas focus on promoting regional security, emphasize cooperation on traditional security issues, you see. Yeah. So the ASEAN, ASEAN Security Community, is more on traditional security issue, military. It takes form of informal security cooperation with limited enforcement mechanism and focus on primarily preventing conflict within ASEAN. So this is traditional security issue. Yes, security issue. Preventing conflict, yeah, between ASEAN countries. So these are ASC, ASEAN Security Community. Now we know the word APAC, right? The term APAC, ASEAN Political Security Community. Okay. So the APAC officially replaced AAC when ASEAN developed the ASEAN Community Blueprint 2015. It focuses on diplomacy and conflict prevention through dialogue and peaceful solution. Yeah. So you can see if AAC is only to encourage regional security cooperation, yeah, APAC is deeper, yeah, it starts diplomacy and conflict prevention through dialogue and peaceful solution. So you can see APAC is stronger than AAC, yeah. A formal framework adopted in the ASEAN Security Blueprint 2015 covers, yeah, both traditional and non-traditional security issues. Okay, so it's different from AAC, which is only traditional security issues. APAC covers both traditional and non-traditional security threats. Yeah, that include cybersecurity, terrorism, transnational crimes, okay, now environmental security, yeah, and so on. Yeah. In APAC, they are more structured with concrete action plans, legal frameworks, and stronger institutional mechanism. Yeah. So the regional security architecture is more detailed, more complete, yeah, more concrete in APAC compared to AAC. And APAC even expands beyond ASEAN, including global partnership and responses to regional and international security issues. Yeah, so expand beyond ASEAN. Okay. So ASEAN is actually a security community. ASEAN name itself as security community, ASEAN Political Security Community. So actually, what is security community? Yeah. Okay, we need to know what is security community. The concept of security community originates from Dr. Carl Deuce. Yeah, this is Dr. Carl Deuce. Okay. It's come from his theory. Yeah, Carl Deuce theory, 1957, which defined it as a group of states that develop long-term habit of peaceful interaction, where war among them become unthinkable. Okay. So security community is the group of states, okay, that develop long-term habit of peaceful interactions, where war among them become unthinkable. Okay. Let's see ASEAN. Yeah. ASEAN was established in 1967. So now it's about almost 70 years. Yeah, almost 70 years. It's already long term, right? Yeah. They interact peacefully in ASEAN. Yeah. Now war among ASEAN countries become unthinkable, right? Yeah. Okay. Indonesia will not think of attacking ASEAN countries. Yeah. Okay. Vietnam. In the past, Vietnam attacked Cambodia, right? Yeah. But after joining ASEAN, they will never think about attacking Cambodia or Laos. Yeah. Okay. So Yeah, security community exists where there are peaceful interaction and war among them become unthinkable. That is security community. ASEAN has some characteristics of security community, but scholars still debate whether it will meet the definition actually. These are the arguments supporting ASEAN as a security community. First is absence of war among member states. Since the formation of ASEAN in 1997, ASEAN members have avoided war with each other, relying on diplomacy and economic negotiation to resolve conflicts. Okay, this is suggested by Amitav Acharya. Yeah, you must understand that Amitav Acharya is a established Southeast Asian expert. Yeah, he's not from Southeast Asia. He's from he was born in India, yeah, and then moved to US, yeah, but he's expert in Southeast Asia. Okay, so there is absence of war among member states, okay, as the criteria of security community. Example, there are many territorial disputes in Southeast Asia. Example, Indonesia, Malaysia over Ambalat. Yeah. Thailand, Cambodia over Phra Phia Temple. But they have been managed through diplomatic negotiations rather than armed conflict. Yeah. So there is absence of war. Okay. Negotiation is good. Yeah. Diplomatic negotiation is good. That's how it should be. Yeah. We should avoid violence. Okay. We should avoid war. And it happened in security community. Yeah. Number two, in ASEAN there is institutional framework for peaceful conflict resolution. ASEAN has established mechanisms like ASEAN Regional Forum and ASEAN Political Security Community (APAC) to enhance dialogue and regional stability. Yeah, this is the institutional framework for peaceful conflict resolution. Yeah, IRF, APAC. Yeah. Okay, this is suggested by Caballero Anthony, 2014. ASEAN's non-interference principle promotes stability by preventing external intervention in internal affairs. Yeah. So these are number two, the second argument. Yeah. ASEAN has institutional framework for peaceful conflict resolution. The third argument is ASEAN has shared identity and regional norms. ASEAN promotes the ASEAN way, emphasizing informal diplomacy, consensus building, and non-confrontational negotiation. Yeah, suggested by Acharya. This has fostered a sense of regional identity, through which, though it remains weaker compared to the European Union. Yeah. So the arguments that support ASEAN as a security community, they have these 3 points. Yeah, absence of war, institutional framework of peaceful conflict resolution, and ASEAN way as the shared identity and regional norms. Okay. Any question? Is it clear?
Clear, sir.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Yeah. However, there are also arguments against ASEAN as a security community. So this expert suggested ASEAN has not yet a security community. Yeah. First is lack of collective defense and enforcement power. So these theorists or experts say that unlike NATO, ASEAN lack mutual defense agreement or enforcement mechanism for security decisions. Yeah. Example, ASEAN struggles to take collective action on issues like South China Sea disputes due to differing national interests. Yeah. So there is no collective defense and enforcement power in ASEAN. Yeah. Secondly, there are challenges in addressing internal conflict. ASEAN non-intervention policy limits its ability to resolve internal crises in member states. Yeah. We see internal crisis in Myanmar, right? In Myanmar currently. Yeah. Okay. And ASEAN non-intervention policy, meaning that ASEAN cannot assist to resolve internal crisis in Myanmar. Yeah. So ASEAN response to Myanmar military coup, for example, has been slow and ineffective until now. Yeah. So that is the second arguments against ASEAN as a security community. The third is dependent on external powers for security. ASEAN relies on external powers, US, China, Japan, Australia, for military support and security guarantees. Example, yeah, we rely on US military presence in South China Sea. Yeah. The US military presence in South China Sea play a key role in maintaining regional security as ASEAN lack a unified defense force. Okay. So to face China, yeah, we need the support from US actually. Because ASEAN, we don't have unified defense force such as NATO. Yeah. So if you see, these are the arguments against ASEAN as a security community. It is, if we compare with previous slides, yeah, supporting as a security community, you can see the difference, right? Yeah. The first slide, supporting ASEAN as a security community, it's more on social constructivism. Yeah. Social constructivism. Okay. Practices, habit, culture, yeah, norms, right? Norms, yeah, ASEAN way, identity, yeah. Those are social constructivism social constructivism concept or arguments. So based on social constructivism, we argue that ASEAN is already a security community. Yeah. Those who criticize ASEAN, yeah, say that ASEAN has not yet a security community is actually based on realism. Yeah, realism. You can see here, alliance, yeah, NATO, for example. Okay, and then ability to solve crisis, and then power, military support, security guarantee. Those are actually realist, right? Realist concepts. Yeah. So realists will say that ASEAN is not yet a security community. Yeah. While social constructivism, they say that ASEAN is already a security community because there are peace in ASEAN. Yeah. And the norms in ASEAN has developed peace relations. Okay. Yeah, those are the arguments for and against ASEAN as a security community. Okay, is it clear or you have question?
Clear, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, whatever ASEAN has identified ourselves, yeah, as ASEAN political security community. Yeah, so we claim that we are a political security community. Yeah. However, ASEAN has challenges in regional security, and it's normal. Yeah, it's normal. Every region will have their own challenges, their own problem. Yeah, like European Union, they have their own problem. Okay, Northern America, they have their own problems. Yeah, ASEAN also have their own challenges. Okay. The first challenges in ASEAN is diverse national interests and non-interference principle. Yeah. So the ASEAN way, okay, emphasize consensus and non-interference in member state domestic affairs. Actually, it promotes diplomatic harmony but slow down decision making on critical security issues. Yeah. So in ASEAN, there are diverse national interests, okay, and the non-interference principle become the challenges for ASEAN in solving critical security issues. Secondly, lack of enforcement mechanism. Yeah. Unlike the EU or NATO, ASEAN does not have a strong enforcement mechanism to implement security policies. Agreement depend on voluntary compliance, limiting ASEAN ability to resolve conflict effectively. Yeah. Example, the South China Sea conduct negotiation have made little progress because ASEAN lack legal enforcement power over member states and China. Yeah. So ASEAN lack enforcement mechanism, and this is the challenges that ASEAN face. The third challenge is external influence from great powers, from major powers. Yeah. So ASEAN stability in regional security is often challenged by external powers such as India, China, US. Yeah, which they have competing strategic interests. Okay. Example, US-China rivalry put ASEAN in difficult position as member states must balance relationship between both superpowers. Yeah. The fourth challenge is maritime security and South China Sea disputes. Several ASEAN members, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, yeah, they have territorial dispute with China in the South China Sea. China 9 days line claims have increased tension while ASEAN response remain fragmented. Yeah. So ASEAN's response is not unified but fragmented over South China Sea disputes. Okay. Example, Indonesia Natuna Island dispute with China highlight ASEAN challenge in presenting unified stance in maritime security. Yeah. So these are the number four challenge, yeah, maritime security and South China Sea dispute. The fifth challenge is counterterrorism and cyber security gaps. Southeast Asia faces growing threats from terrorist groups. Example, ISIS affiliated networks, yeah, and cybersecurity attacks. But ASEAN cooperation on intelligence sharing remain limited and inconsistent. Okay. We have seen many terrorism attacks in Southeast Asia, in Indonesia, in the Philippines, even Malaysia and Thailand face terrorism by ISIS-linked terrorists. So those are the 5 challenges that ASEAN face in regional security. Is it clear of your more explanation?
It's clear, sir.
Thank you. Okay, after discussing ASEAN, let's discuss about ASEAN Regional Forum. ARF. Actually, not many know about ASEAN Regional Forum actually. But ASEAN Regional Forum has been an important organization for security in the region. Someone wants to join? Okay, let me see who are not joining it. Okay, Peter. Okay. ASEAN Regional Forum have 27 countries participants, including ASEAN, 10 countries, major global powers, China, USA, Japan, India, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, even North Korea. You know, North Korea joined no regional organization, North Korea, DPRK, Democratic People's Republic of Korea. They actually joined no regional organization. So we can say that ARF is the only forum that North Korea joined actually. That's why ARF is very important actually. The main objective of ARF is to build trust between countries in open discussion, prevent conflict by improving diplomatic cooperation, and provide a platform for peaceful conflict resolution. So you can see this is very important, because to solve conflict, to solve disputes, conflicts, we need discussion. We cannot solve conflict with military, We cannot prevent conflict with military. We can only prevent conflict by improving diplomatic cooperation, by negotiation, open discussion, and by peaceful conflict resolution. And this is served by ARF. The key achievement of ARF, it promoted security dialogues on major issues such as cyber threats, counter-terrorism, and you must know that ARF is the only multilateral security forum for East Asian issues. There is no other multilateral security forum for East Asian issues. Okay, in ASEAN, we have ASEAN Political Security Community, APSC. But how about China? How about Japan? How about Korea? How about North Korea? They don't have organization like ASEAN. They don't have organization like ASEAN Political Security Community. That's why ARF actually serves as the only multilateral security forum for East Asian issues. So it strengthens regional partnership through joint security initiative. But ARF, of course, they have weaknesses. And the weaknesses is actually similar with ASEAN, Similar with ASEAN Political Security Community, because this is an offspring of ASEAN. Yeah, that decision making is slow due to the need for consensus, and IRF has no enforcement power, making it less effective in resolving disputes. Okay, so this is IRF. Okay. Okay, I would like to show you. Yeah, this is one of the IRF in last year. Yeah, let's see this video.
Welcome to the 14th East Asia Summit Foreign Minister meeting under the Lao PDR chairmanship theme ASEAN.
近年来，中国东盟面共同体建设迈出坚实步伐，取得丰硕成果，惠及双方20亿民众，有力促进了共同发展。
Thanks, guys.
We look forward to discussing all of the work that we're doing to improve the lives of our combined 1 billion people. As we take stock of this affirmative agenda, we also have to work together to address challenges to this shared vision, whether it's Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine, the DPRK's nuclear weapons and ballistic missile programs, the ongoing and heartbreaking crisis in Burma, or the PRC's escalatory and unlawful actions taken against the Philippines in the South China Sea over the last few months. On that, we are pleased to take note of the successful resupply today, the second Thomas Shoal, which is the product of an agreement reached between the Philippines and China. We applaud that and hope and expect to see that it continues going forward.
Colleagues, while we enjoy the ASEAN-US good relation, our partnership should also contribute to global peace and stability. We should be the guardian of the international laws in a consistent manner. When we talk about respecting international law, it should be applied to all. It should be applied in Ukraine issue, South China Sea, and certainly for Palestine. In Palestine, for example, we cannot continue closing our eyes to see the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza. As we speak now, almost 40,000 people have died. We need a ceasefire. We need a sustainable peace to stop this human suffering.
Okay, that's example, yeah. Okay. Yeah, now we'll discuss Indonesia's role in ASEAN security. Yeah, ASEAN is very important in ASEAN security. Yeah, ASEAN has been founded, yeah, okay, by 5 founding members. One of it is Indonesia. So Indonesia is the founding member of ASEAN. So Indonesia advocates for ASEAN stability in regional security matters. Okay. Secondly, Indonesia is always active in regional diplomacy and play a key role in solving regional conflicts. Yeah, for example, in solving the conflicts in Cambodia, yeah. Okay. And currently Indonesia is also trying hard to resolve regional conflicts, for example, in South China Sea, yeah, through promoting for ASEAN Code of Conduct over South China Sea, for example, yeah. The key actions of Indonesia: mediated peace effort in Myanmar and South China Sea disputes, promote a stable Indo-Pacific region through dialogue and negotiation, and support ASEAN-led security framework and military cooperation. Yeah. Indonesia's security effort include diplomatic leadership. Example, Indonesia regularly hosts Bali Democracy Forum to promote good governance in the region and strengthen ASEAN-led security cooperation mechanism under FPAC. Yeah. In military defense and defense contribution, yeah, Indonesia participates in UN peacekeeping mission worldwide, engaged in joint military exercises with ASEAN and global partners. And Indonesia is also active in counterterrorism and cybersecurity, works with neighboring countries to combat terrorism, yeah, and strengthen laws against cyber threats and misinformation, and increase intelligence sharing across ASEAN members. So those are Indonesia's security efforts related with regional security, yeah. Okay. Okay, now we go to the part 4, maritime security and South China Sea disputes. For Indonesia, maritime security is very important, yeah, because Indonesia is the archipelagic state with over 17,000 islands, and Indonesia have major global trade routes, passes through the Malacca Strait and surrounding waters, which is actually pass through Indonesian waters. Yeah. The key maritime threats of maritime security for Indonesia include piracy and armed robbery targeting cargo ships. There are a lot of cases, yeah, of piracy and armed robbery. And then illegal fishing by foreign vessels depleting Indonesian fishery resources. Smuggling and maritime terrorism, including drug and human trafficking. And don't forget, South China Sea tension affecting territorial waters near the Natuna Islands. Yeah. Indonesia's response to solve this issue or to manage this issue are expanding naval and coast guard patrols in critical areas, strengthening laws and penalties for illegal activities at seas, yeah, and increasing cooperation with ASEAN and global partners for joint maritime security efforts. Okay, so those are Indonesia's maritime security challenges and efforts, yeah, responses. Do you have question at this point? Is it clear?
Clear, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay, thank you.
This is the South China Sea.
Okay, the South China Sea disputes. Yeah, let's see this video to get more understanding about the South China Sea disputes.
One of the most disputed regions in the world, as multiple countries have been competing for control of its territorial waters for centuries. In a gloomy scenario, it might only take one miscalculated attack or a single clash for a regional war to erupt. In a worst-case scenario, the tensions could even lead to a major conflict involving global powers like China and the US. The sea is more than just water, reefs, islands, and rocks. It serves as a major world shipping thoroughfare, with more than 20% of global trade passing through its waters, amounting to approximately $3.3 trillion in trade annually. It is also believed to hold around 11 billion barrels of oil, 90 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, and around 10% of the globe's fisheries. At the heart of the dispute are the Paracel and Spratly Islands, which are believed to be surrounded by potential reserves of natural resources. A US Geological Survey estimates that the Spratly Island territory contains between 0.9 to 3 billion barrels of petroleum and other liquids. China has claimed around 90% of the territories in the South China Sea, antagonizing bordering countries Vietnam, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Brunei, who have made their own competing claims of sovereignty. Beijing's claims are based on a map drawn by pre-communist China in 1947. The map initially had 11 dashes indicating Chinese territory, but once the Chinese Communist Party adopted the map in 1949, 2 dashes were removed to give the Gulf of Tonkin to Communist Vietnam. China insists that history supports its claims. In 2016, however, a case against China brought by the Philippines to the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague ruled that Beijing's claims have no legal basis under international law. The territorial disputes have led to several confrontations dating back to the 1970s. At least 74 Vietnamese sailors were killed in a deadly incident in 1974 when China seized the Paracels. More recently, the Philippines and China have been engaged in a series of confrontations in the last year. The latest incident occurred on August 8, when Chinese and Filipino air forces accused each other of disrupting each other's military operations in the South China Sea, leading the Philippine government to lodge a diplomatic protest against Beijing. This recent incident followed a violent confrontation that took place between Chinese and Filipino vessels in the South China Sea in June. The Philippines had accused the Chinese coast guards involved of piracy, whilst China defended their maritime forces, calling them professional and restrained. As with most flare-ups in the South China Sea between China and Washington's allies, the incident renewed fears that the US could be dragged into a direct confrontation with China. So, what brings the United States into this? Manila and Washington have a mutual defense treaty dating back to World War II, which means the US could at any point invoke the treaty to defend the Philippines militarily. In July this year, the US announced a $500 million defense fund for the Philippines. Then, on August 7, the Philippines, the US, Australia, and Canada launched joint sea and air drills in the South China Sea, where Beijing was also holding its own military exercises. In addition to previously established regional military facilities in the Philippines, South Vietnam, and Taiwan, the US gained access to 4 new military bases in the Philippines, including one located by the South China Sea in 2023. The US also has military presence in Taiwan and shares military ties with Brunei. On its end, China, which has vowed to protect its territorial interests by any means necessary, has 20 outposts in the Paracel Islands and 7 in the Spratlys, according to the Washington-based Center for Strategic and International Studies. What does the United Nations say about all of this? A 1982 UN law called the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea says states can control the territorial waters within 370 kilometers of their shores, called exclusive economic zones, and that all civilian or military ships can enjoy the right of innocent passage through other states' territorial seas. Will tensions boiling between border countries and a fierce competition between Washington and Beijing lead to a wider geopolitical conflict centered around the South China Sea?
Yeah, that's about South China Sea disputes, yeah. So the dispute is about several countries: China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, yeah, claim overlapping territories in the South China Sea. China 9-dash line claims most of the sea, while ASEAN members reject. Okay. It's also important to Indonesia. Yeah. Indonesia is not a direct claimant, but it has disputes with China near the Natuna Seas. Okay. If you see Natuna Seas, actually China also claim, yeah, okay, the Natuna Seas. Ensuring security in these waters is crucial for protecting Indonesia's maritime sovereignty. Okay, so Indonesian action are strengthening naval presence in Natuna Island to deter foreign incursion, promotes diplomatic efforts through ASEAN to resolve the dispute peacefully, and support UNCLOS, yeah, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea to uphold international law. Okay. Yeah, so that's about the South China Sea disputes. Yeah, I hope you get more information about this now. Okay. Okay, do you have question until this point?
No, sir.
No? Okay, great. Yeah. Indonesia's future security strategy. Yeah. So Indonesia's security strategies include improving ASEAN security cooperation. Yeah, Indonesia will try to strengthen ASEAN-led defense agreement and encourage member states to act together on security issues. So this is based on our 2015 white paper, yeah, defense white paper. You have read that, okay? Yeah. Secondly, building stronger military and defense capabilities, increasing defense budget for better naval and air force capabilities, and expanding military modernization programs. And Indonesia also is expanding regional partnership, strengthening global ties, yeah, with global partners like US, Japan, and Australia, and collaborating with India and Pacific nations for security cooperation. So these are the plan that Indonesia has, yeah, for securing Indonesia and regional security. So for conclusion, Indonesia plays a central role in ASEAN security due to its size, geography, and diplomacy. ASEAN cooperation is key to maintaining regional peace and stability. That's the second. The third, challenges remain, but Indonesia can address them through diplomacy, military strengthening, and partnership. Do you have a question? Is there any question? Okay, no, clear. Thank you, Evelyn. Okay, let me take attendance, yeah. Let me take attendance. Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay, good. Oh, sorry. Alfriza, right? Okay. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Because in previous class, in our morning class, we discussed the same topic and talk about how Asian could be more recognized by the people, especially society in Asian countries itself. Like the European Union has symbols like a flag and a common currency, which make it more well known. While Asian also has a flag and also official song, which is the Asian Way, but we think that it is still less recognized by its own people compared to the European Union. Probably my question is not related to the security issues, but I would like to know your opinion. How can Asian become more well known to the public, sir? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, the integration in ASEAN is very different, yeah, from the integration in Europe. Okay, while as in Europe, they integrate their economy, they integrated their social policy, political policy, yeah, integrated even socio-cultural policy. In ASEAN, we do not we only integrate some part of our economy and maintain some autonomy, yeah, in terms of economy. In political security, for example, in ASEAN, actually, we don't integrate our political security policy, yeah. In ASEAN, political security policy is more on coordination, and it depends on each country, yeah, whether to apply or not. Okay, so there are a lot of autonomy in ASEAN. Okay, political security, socio-cultural issues, for example, the ASEAN socio-cultural community is only like IPAC, only a mechanism for coordination. Yeah, so it's like sharing best practices, okay, get advice, okay, maybe have common project, yeah, but it's only that. Yeah, there is no integration. Okay. In European Union, for example, the integration is very strong. Yeah. In Europe, for example, if you have moved to Europe, you can go to the European Union countries easily. Yeah, they can move without passport. Without passport. Okay, so there is no immigration gates at the borders of each ASEAN, each European Union countries. It's different with ASEAN, right? Yeah. Although there are freedom to move in ASEAN, yeah, but it's only freedom to move, not freedom to freedom of movement, but it's not freedom to reside in other ASEAN countries. Yeah. For example, you can go to Malaysia, but it's only for 30 days without visa. Yeah. Okay. The Malaysian also can go to Indonesia, but only 30 days. Yeah. In European Union, they can move everywhere in European Union without any visa, without passport. Yeah. So it's complete freedom actually. Yeah. So you can see actually ASEAN has actually retained autonomy. Yeah. Maybe critics say that ASEAN is not fully hearted, is not fully hearted in integrating their countries. It's true, yeah. Okay, it's true. That's why integration in ASEAN is not so strong like in Europe, and that's why many among people don't understand about ASEAN. Yeah, they don't know about ASEAN. Yeah, because actually the national government still maintain their independence, their autonomy. Yeah, for them, ASEAN is only forum to integrate, not to integrate, sorry, forum for coordination, forum for cooperation, yeah, in some parts to integrate the economy, yeah, but not in politics and not in socio-cultural. They want to maintain their nationalism. Yeah, that's why as long as nationalism is in the paramount in ASEAN, regional identity will not be strong. Yeah, is it answered?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, most welcome. So, yeah. So regional identity in ASEAN is not strong because national governments, they don't want it to be strong, Yeah, they still want to maintain national identity, nationalism. That's your answer, yeah. Okay. Okay, let me take attendance first, yeah. Alfia, okay, you are here. Alfrenus here. Anna Maria, okay. Edwina, Elisa,
Present.
yeah. Emilianus, are you here, Emilianus? Okay, I think Emilianus is not here, right? Okay, Gwen, are you here? Yeah, okay, I see you. Hanifa, Clarissa Putri, are you here? I don't see Clarissa, right? Okay, Clarissa is not here. Putri, are you here?
Present, sir.
Oh yeah, okay, great. Korea, are you here? Not here, I think. Rizka? Yeah, you are here.
Present, sir.
Thank you. Tita Graciela, Tita, okay. Warda, are you here?
Present,
Okay,
sir.
you're here. Okay, there are some students that joining from the morning class, yeah. Please write your attendance in the WhatsApp group, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
so we can go. We can leave the
Yeah,
meeting
yeah.
now.
Now you can. Yeah. Okay. I think the session has finished. Thank you so much for today. Yeah. See you next week. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Most
Thank
welcome.
you, sir.